Welcome to Session 1 of Communication Skills for Employability, designed specifically for ninth grade students. In this session, we will explore the fundamental aspects of communication and how mastering these skills can enhance your employability prospects in the future. Skills are speaking, reading, listening, writing, feelings, or emotions. By actively practicing and honing these communication skills, you will become better equipped to handle the challenges of the job market. What is the origin of word communication? The word communication has its origins in the Latin word communicare, which means to share or to make common. This Latin root emphasizes the fundamental purpose of communication, which is to exchange information, ideas, or emotions between two persons or group of communities. Effective communication plays a vital role in human interaction and is essential for understanding, cooperation, and building relationships among societies. Different types of communications. First is informative communication. This involves sharing information, facts, or details with others. It could be something as simple as sharing a travel trip with a relative or discussing about the sports event at school with a friend. Second is influential communication. This type of communication is focused on influencing or persuading others to take a particular action or adopt a specific viewpoint. Negotiating a price or helping a friend overcome their problems are examples of influential communication. Third is emotional communication. This involves expressing one's feelings, emotions, and sentiments to others. Sharing feelings of excitement with loved ones after doing well in exams is an example of emotional communication. Communication is indeed a two-way exchange of information. In the given example, "Where are you going?" is a question asked by the sender to gather information from the receiver. The receiver then provides a reply, "I am going home," which is the response containing the information requested by the sender. This completes the two-way communication process, where information is transmitted and received between the participants involved is the full cycle of communication. Now let us look at step-by-step a concise overview of the communication process, highlighting the essential steps involved in exchanging information between a sender and a recipient. First, the sender begins the communication process to convey the message to the receiver. This message could be to share the sender's information or request information from the recipient. However, the channel through which the message is transmitted can take different forms, such as face-to-face conversation or telephone conversation, as an alternatively written text as email or letter also can be used. The receiver's role is to listen to the information, understand its content, and provide feedback to the sender as a verbal reply or in text format. This step will lead to further discussion or confirmation of understanding. Basic elements of communication are indeed a two-way exchange that involves both giving and receiving information between sender and receiver. Speaking and writing are both ways to share information by the sender. And listening and reading are both acts of receiving information by the receiver during the communication process. Perspectives in communication. Perspectives are ideas, views, or fixed ways of thinking. These sometimes affect our communication. For example, if you have a fixed idea that your teacher or father is strict, even when they are being friendly, you may think they are scolding you even though they are good and nice to you. In the same way, others may also have fixed ideas about you, which affect whatever you say to them. Communication barriers. Factors that affect the perspective in communication. The first and important one is language. The classic example of how communication can be hindered is, in this scenario, when both individuals, Indian and Chinese, only speak their respective languages, Hindi and Mandarin, and neither understands the other's language. This can lead to several communication challenges. Next, the visual barrier is visual perception, the process through which the brain interprets and make sense of the visual information received from the eyes. One aspect of visual perception is the brain's ability to fill in missing information or complete partially presented visual stimuli. Our brain automatically attempts to perceive it as a whole by filling in the missing parts based on our prior knowledge and expectations. The third communication barrier is related to our earlier experiences, which stops us from understanding or communicating clearly. For example, the thought that this shopkeeper cheated me last time, therefore I have to be careful now. Or, I scored low marks in my maths exam, so I am scared to answer any questions in class. Fourth communication barrier is prejudice, or preconceived opinion that is not based on reason or actual experience. An example of this could be fixed ideas, such as thinking, no one in my class likes me, may stop a student from communicating openly in class and at home. Fifth, communication barrier is feelings and emotions. Our feelings and emotions, such as lack of interest or not trusting the other person, affect communication. For example, I am not feeling well, therefore, I don't want to talk. Sixth communication barrier is noise environment. Noise environment or disturbance in the surroundings may make communication difficult. For example, talking to a friend in a function where there is loud music being played by the orchestra and trying to whisper in his ear. The loud music is the barrier. Seventh communication barrier is our personal factors. These are our own feelings, habits, and ways of thinking. For example, fear and low confidence may make communication difficult. Eighth communication barrier is our culture. Culture has a significant communication barrier that can lead to misunderstandings and misinterpretations. The classic example of thumbs up gesture is often used in many cultures to indicate approval or a job well done. But in India, it is an insulting sign as thenga. 7 C's of effective communication. These are: number 1, be clear about what you want to say. Number 2, be concise, use simple words, and say only what is needed. Third, make strong concrete statements, use exact words and phrases. Fourth, use correct spellings, language and grammar. Fifth, is coherent, your words should make sense and should be related to main topic. Number 6, C is complete, your message should have all the needed information. Finally, the 7th C is having courtesy. Be respectful, friendly and honest. Practical exercises, initial thinking activity. After watching the initial video, in the e-learning lesson on this topic, answer the following question. Why is it important to communicate clearly and effectively? Activity 1. Role play on communication process. The procedure for this activity is to form groups with 3 students in each group. Act out a conversation between the 3 people. The situation is that you need to sell some items to an old couple who has come to the shop. One person can act as a salesperson, and the other two as an old man and his wife. The group has to discuss what they learned from this drama. Activity 2 of practical exercises, group discussion, and sharing experience on factors affecting perspectives in communication. The procedure for this second activity is to form groups with 3 students in each group again. Ask each group to select any one of the 8 factors which act as barriers to communication. Further discuss how it can affect or become a barrier to good communication with family, friends, in school, or at a retail store. As an after effect, each group shares their experiences related to one of the 8 factors. The third activity is 7 C's of effective communication. Materials required for this activity are a pen, a pencil, and a notebook. The procedure is to write down examples of the 7 C's of communication in their notebook. For each of the 7 C's, A student volunteer has to give his or her example of how to communicate well. The other students, along with teachers' guidance, have to judge if it is correct or incorrect. The fourth activity is artistic, on elements of communication. The materials required for this activity are chart paper, color pencils, and an ordinary pencil, and the procedure is to make a chart showing the elements of communication in the communication process cycle. Now the balance 3 slides contain multiple choice questions. Read the questions carefully and circle the letter that best answers the question. Congratulations, you have completed the session 1. Now move on to session 2. All the best.